Funding for this program was provided by Friends, the Iowa Public Television Foundation.
AARP Iowa, reminding voters of the importance of understanding each presidential candidate's position on Social Security. More information is available at 2016takeastand.org.
Businessman and entrepreneur Donald Trump.
But referring to people as rapists, referring to John McCain, a war hero, 5.5 years as a POW, and you call him a dummy. Is that appropriate in running for president?
Okay, you got to let me speak, though, Frank, because you interrupt all the time, okay? So he's not a war hero.
He's a war hero.
He's a war hero.
5.5 years.
He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay? I hate to tell you.
Do you agree with that?
He's a war hero because he was captured, okay? See, I get a standing ovation. Other people don't.
This way.
Nation's top pro-life and pro-family leaders and president of the Family Research Council.
Your art, Corey.
I was with you. I had to call him out on the word damn. What did you have? Did you the audience screaming for me? I said, Frank, there's nothing wrong with that. Come here. Call me. Yeah. Somebody else. Yep.
Hello, everybody. Would you equally criticize other POWs then, who were also captured like McCain?
No, not at all. I consider them heroes. No, I consider them heroes.
What should we say about you then with your multiple student deferments during the same period and finally a medical deferment?
You should say what you say about millions of other people, I guess, right?
You said you didn't. You said John McCain you like people who didn't get captured.
No, I don't. I do like people that don't get captured. I like people that get captured. I like people that don't.
Are you blaming John McCain for his capture?
I am saying that John McCain has not done a good job.
No, that's not what you said, and that's not my question. Are you blaming John McCain for his capture?
I'm not blaming John McCain.
Well, why would you say you like people who doesn't get captured?
If he gets captured, he gets captured.
Why did you say you like people who don't get captured?
They're brave men because they were in the field.
Why are you suggesting that John McCain did something to lead to his capture?
Of course not.
Why would you say what you said? Any other questions?
You take back what you said. Go back to being a pundit. Go back to being a pundit.
At this moment in Iowa, journalists made a bold prediction. Donald Trump wouldn't survive. It wasn't the first time the 2016 presidential race would surprise, and certainly not the last. To understand the whole story, you need to rewind the tape back to January 2015, when the race for the presidency in Iowa was on a more conventional path, when we started our year-long documentary series on the caucus campaign. This is Caucus Countdown.
Inaugurations are a time of celebration, a time for ceremony, and a time for vision. What will Iowa's longtime governor outline for his sixth term?
Discharge the duties incumbent upon the office of governor in the state of Iowa as now or hereafter required by law. Congratulations, Governor.
Thank you very much, Chief.
And we have more people employed than any time in our state's history.
Governor Chris Christie is at the session today and is going to be, well, he's leaving right there. You see that he's talking with some people here at the inaugural ceremonies.
He is here to meet and greet Iowans, to lay the groundwork for a presidential campaign on a day when he alone is sort of hobnobbing with Iowa Republicans, whereas the other wannabes for 2016 are not on the stage.
Branstad taught you a thing or two about how to govern?
Branstad's taught me a thing or two about politics and how to govern. He's good at both. And nobody gets elected 6 times if they're not. So he's taught me a lot.
If you do run, are you going to, what kind of a campaign would you? Santorum hit all 99 counties.
If I do run, I'll be myself, and we'll see how Iowans like that.
Joni Scudder.
Oh, there you are.
Hello, my dear. Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Glad you are here. I was wondering if you were here.
Yeah,
and then I heard you. I heard you on that tax cut. I said, all right, my girl is here.
1, 2, 3. Thank you, Joni.
What's your secret?
That's my secret. Here it is. It's really simple. If you eat less, you lose weight. See, if someone had told me that a long time ago, I would have been able to do much better, but that's about it. Sir, how are you? I
You
got
better run this year because I'll be 96 the next time.
Well, we can't wait then, can we?
No, we're going to get you this time. I'll do it.
Thank you.
I'll vote for you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Good to see you. Thank you very much. I'm going to walk out the back row.
The Democrats. Today, that party decided they'd hold their presidential pick'em convention 1 week after the Republicans put on their show in mid-July. Greetings from Iowa. Kickoff for this Freedom Summit is tomorrow morning at 9:30 Eastern Time, and the fun goes all day. We've got Carson, Christie, Cruz, Palin, Perry, Santorum, Trump, Walker, and a whole lot more. It's a veritable Super Bowl of speeches with activists and the press here to kick the tires, which is what people do at the Super Bowl. Who actually prepares and comes in here, as you said, with some good one-liners, but also a vision?
Yeah, you got to have both. And if all that fails, you could make bread bag balloon animals.
That's the other possibility.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you, sir, for doing this. You're very nice to me. How would you rate the job you and your operation have done so far in allowing you to position yourself if you do run to be a strong candidate?
Yeah, well, I think we're light years ahead of where we were 4 years ago, that's for sure.
You know, I had to explain to a morning drive time people on BBC Wales after the caucuses what a sweater vest is.
Really?
Seriously, because a vest in Britain is an undershirt.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Particularly, I mean, everybody says they're going to run. I mean, you're going to have, what, a dozen or more? I mean, can you imagine an hour and a half long debate with a dozen people? It's like, you'd barely be able to clear your throat.
No, you would probably have to show up in a sweater vest.
Yeah, stand out. Or tank top. I mean,
a tank top.
Wear a tank top. I'll start getting ripped and see if I can wear a tank. What do you think?
Sun's out, guns out.
Guns out.
Right?
Guns up.
So you can't have Romney, he choked. You can't have Bush. The last thing we need is another Bush. Remember his statement? They come for love. I say, what? Come for love. You got these people coming, half of them are criminals. I mean, they're coming for love? They're coming for a lot of other reasons, and it's not love.
We need leaders who understand that when freedom-loving people anywhere in the world are under attack, anywhere else they're under attack against all of us who believe in freedom, we need leaders who will stand with our allies against radical Islamic terrorists.
What should happen if the Supreme Court steps in this summer and says all these marriage amendments and all these state constitutions, like your own, they don't count, they're invalid? What should happen next?
Well, that's what we'll have to take a look at. We fought that in the federal court and the Court of Appeals and ultimately up to the U.S. Supreme Court. We're hopeful that they'll take action. And again, it's like a lot of other issues. We're hopeful that they believe that the states are ultimately the place where these decisions should be made.
Governor, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. I think like most folks will be looking. Careful.
I got stopped. Pretty good, huh? Are you? But it seems like you've got a message now. That sounded like a presidential campaign speech.
One reporter's asked me that I think you would be ready for negative attacks. I said, you've been in Madison the last couple of years. You go, oh yeah, this will be okay.
Yeah, that's the one thing that's probably not going to be a problem, right?
You started your political career in the George W. Bush campaign. Have you spoken to anyone in the Bush family about your own intentions and plans?
Oh, sure. I have many friends in and out of politics and have had a great many conversations.
In the Bush family? With members of the Bush family?
You know, I keep a practice of keeping private conversations private. Biofuel, even without a federal mandate, will remain an important part of the energy market. The demand is there. And we don't need to have the federal government mandating it. It rather should be in a fair and open marketplace.
Do you think that's going to hurt your chances, though?
You know, I think that's a decision for the voters to make. I'll tell you this. I do think voters are looking for someone who will tell them the truth.
The institutions of government are failing while people are dying. And we need to send a message to Congress. Secure the border now. Override this president's lawless executive order. Restore law and order to our border with Mexico. Stand up to this face of evil and protect our citizens. This is why we live in America today. To be able to stand up and tell our government to do what we want to do.
Who we are! So we tell them we are dreamers. So we tell them.
Listen.
We are 11.
Come on.
11 million dreamers. I'm not resisting at all, officer. I'm not resisting at all. You can see it. I'm not resisting at all.
Okay.
We just want an opportunity.
I understand.
What's the charge, sir?
Enough is enough. We're not afraid. We are here because this is the right thing to do. And we're here just to ask a very simple question. Are you gonna deport us all? Do you want us to deport us? And if you do, we are here to face you.
And Texas Governor Rick Perry told this Iowa crowd he is looking at 2016. Perry was briefly interrupted by protesters who shouted him down, upset about conservatives' views that disagree with the president's reforms for immigration. Lester? Thank you. My pleasure.
Thank you.
Not to defer to these folks who are on TV all the time telling you who can win and who can't win. They don't know. Obviously, they don't know. And you, I guarantee you, this is true. You spend more time talking and listening to candidates than they do. Please trust your own gut. Trust your own judgment. And I say that as someone, I'm not a candidate yet. I'm not saying you should be for A or B. Trust your own judgment. And I guarantee you our country will be better served.
So is the Democrats supporting you?
Oh, I don't think he's supporting anybody right now. I think most folks are sort of waiting to see how the smoke clears and who runs and who doesn't. Oh my goodness. When I first came to Iowa, you kidding me? I mean, 4 years ago? San what? San who? So it's obviously very different. People always say you were the last guy standing. I say, well, the reason I was the last guy standing is because I had something to stand on.
I'm thinking specifically with gay marriages. You know, some states recognize it, other states don't, and now it's going to go to the Supreme Court.
Our founders would be astonished if they came back today and recognized that the most powerful branch of government is the one that's in Article 3 of the Constitution.
Good to see you.
And we'll be back.
All right.
See you.
By the way, I gave him 2 cards.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to introduce to you from the great state of Kentucky, Senator Rand Paul.
Anybody here want to audit the Fed? Anybody here that the Fed's out to get us? They're all over the TV. They're going to be out there saying, oh, we can't audit the Fed. What, are they too big to be audited? Too secret to be audited?
You know what? If he all of a sudden brought in 15,000 kids going to Iowa colleges to vote, that would be enormous. You know, particularly if they voted in the general election, would be enormous. You know, that can make a difference. That's my goal, is not to be pigeonholed just in one section of the party. I'm also a conservative in most of my policies, so I would be someone who's conservative with a little bit of libertarian-ish flavor.
Thanks for your time, sir.
Starting what? Silver tokens. You can have one for your collection. And
be careful. You know
yeah, I know.
You know what I'm talking about.
Sure.
Right?
Just wanted to be aware of it.
So is this a dime size? I collected coins when I was a kid.
Nice.
And well, I collected all of them. So this is silver?
Yep. 1 cent ounce. Iowa Spark. That's the name of the new currency that's been put out. This is just
be
a
careful on the currency part.
Sure.
You can have a private.
It won't be dollar, but it'll be Iowa Spark.
All right. Make sure you obey the law.
Sure.
All right.
Let's put camera 3 down. Let's just make sure we got that. Just effects.
When are the Iowa caucuses? February 1, 2016.
30 to studio.
February 1st, 2016.
It's a year away.
Yes, a year away.
Yeah.
So we're really getting ready for that? Yes. Okay.
I tell Republicans you can't have the Second Amendment without the Fourth Amendment. You got to defend it all. But I also think there's a great opportunity for us to reach out to new people who haven't been interested in the Republican message if we are the party that believes in justice.
I think he's just trying to find, I guess, what his niche is.
And what do you think his niche would be? Same as his dad or different?
I think he's similar to his dad, but at the same time, he's more of a politician.
Thank you.
Sign until we get back here.
Oh, wow. Excellent. Have you been here?
I actually work for John.
How are you? Alejandro.
Great. Yes. So, Senator Rubio, do you think the next president should support DACA and DAPA?
Do I think what? I'm sorry?
The next president should support DAPA and DACA?
No, I think we need to do a legislative fix. I don't think we should be doing executive orders that are unconstitutional.
So do you still support the immigration bill that you helped to write?
We can't pass it. We got to do it in individual pieces. We can't do it. We won't be able to get anything done on immigration until we first show people and prove to them that we're going to bring future illegal immigration under control. If we do that, I think people will be very reasonable about what we're going to do with people that have been here a long time. But we've tried, and until you do that, we won't even have the votes. In fact, we have less votes for today than we did when that passed, especially after what happened this summer. Thank you.
This is warm weather for the state of Vermont.
A spring day in Vermont, huh?
Balmy day.
You know, running for president, as all of you can understand, is a mammoth undertaking. You don't wake up in the morning and say, you know, run for president. And to do it well, given the politics that I have outlined to you today, the only way that we could win this election, only way, is with an unprecedented grassroots movement all across this country. Give you just an example of things. If I were phenomenally successful in terms of fundraising, and I did something that I believe nobody has ever done in history, and got, say, 3 million Americans to contribute $100 each, that's a lot of money for a lot of families, $100. That's $300 million. That is 1/3 of the amount of money that the Koch brothers themselves are going to spend. How many of your friends are supportive? How many of them are prepared to work? How many of them are prepared to make a $50 contribution? So let me throw that out to you. That's a good question that you've asked.
I think there is the support out there. There was for President Obama. I think there'd be for you as well.
All right, but I'm going to take on people that President Obama didn't take on.
Well, we'll just have to mobilize harder. I think it can be done. People are getting really angry about this income inequality and climate change, and we're tired of it.
I know this is newsworthy. I'm a good walker.
Senator, if you did run, do you think you'd run as an independent or as a Democrat?
And that is exactly one of the issues that we are trying to get some people's views on. There's an advantage and disadvantage in either approach. Just curious, remind me, I couldn't find it. In 2008, I know the participants went off the roof with Obama.
That's right.
How many folks do they figure came out to the Democratic caucus that year, roughly?
Something like 160 or something. Yeah.
Voted in the Democratic caucus.
Many. Yeah. It's never very
but
many.
that was significantly more than any other time.
Significantly more. And yeah, right. And you know, he really got the young voters on the campuses. Just that drove it all up.
You gonna get something to eat? They got like 30 kinds of soup.
Well, I'm afraid that you will be watching, reporting to the world what I eat. What's the soup? I want to put it on my website that you're eating. And the largest corporations have never had it so good. And what we are looking at right now is America having the most unequal distribution of wealth and income of any major country on earth. And it is worse in our country today than at any time since 1929, before the Great depression? How do we deal with healthcare? How do we deal with our infrastructure and create jobs? The only way that I know how to do that any president can do it, is when millions of people are actively involved in the political process. Can't be done otherwise.
If we have to bail out the banks after all the QE, if we're responsible for derivatives when they go bad, how do we do all this?
Well, you break up the banks. That's what you do. Thank you very much.
I wish you were the benevolent dictator of this country.
No, you don't want that.
Has this influenced your choice at all to run yet?
Well, that's something we're still thinking about. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thanks a lot.
Government policy is important in a variety of ways, but also the question is, will government policy allow us in a positive way in this country and around the world to meet those demands? Or will it have a negative impact on a lot of people in this room's ability to do that? So we thought it made sense that we ought to have a discussion. We ought to ask those questions. We're hopeful for answers.
Please welcome the governor of the great state of Iowa, Terry Branstad.
Thank you. It's a beautiful day in Iowa. Please, these people are here to hear the program.
Yeah, those are my people. Those are my people.
These guys just it's unbelievable.
Yeah, right.
Damn, so
Isn't that amazing?
Right on. Right on
Not
cue,
even,
baby.
we're not 5 minutes into the show.
It's tremendous. It's incredible. This stuff is made for me and you.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I mean, everybody else is up there and freezing.
They need to understand that.
That's exactly right.
Just like, get them, boys.
That's exactly right. Take off after him, baby. That's it.
I know.
Go get him. Go get him.
Get you mic'd up.
God bless Iowa and God bless the United States of America.
Has saved us as a economy and has provided a clean alternative for the environment. Create jobs here and throughout the country. Please welcome New Jersey Governor Chris Christie.
I spent the last 5 years dismantling the overreach that she did in New Jersey in our environmental protection area, so I understand what this administration's attitude is, because I've had a firsthand look. And so we're doing exactly what we need to do, and we need to make sure we do that at the EPA. I'm glad to see that New Jersey has come to Iowa. How great is that? Great to have you here. And I think you understand I'll deal with you the same way here as I deal with you in New Jersey.
Jeff, how you doing, man?
Good to see you. Everything's going well, as you know. Remember, you're a Floridian. This is not your home state.
In this case, there was a good incentive. It was put in place for 15 to 20 years. It worked. And now we're at a point where in places where there's a prevalence of wind, it can be an important part of the energy needs of the Midwest, Texas, and California. I wish it was in Florida, but it isn't.
Are you pulling it this way? I'm sorry, I was pulling it the other way.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Here we go. That's a genius idea.
I got a good question. You just told me this is what democracy looks like. So you're telling me that one guy on stage telling candidates what he thinks isn't democracy? No!
What are these guys doing?
Protesters, CCI's yelling about corporate farming and all that.
New Jersey protesters?
That's what he said. Yeah, he said they followed me here from New Jersey.
Wow. I'm not going to bring my Florida friends. I did a fundraiser for him, and I was in Pittsburgh, and I got there early. We were having it at the Duquesne Club. So I walked out of there and I wanted to walk a mile. It was a beautiful day. And all of these anarchists that were trained for the World Trade Organization meetings and stuff surrounded us. I lost contact with the agent. And the guy was trying to provoke me to with cameras. You know, they had it all planned. They were trained.
You know, I'm following my son's diet, the paleo diet.
Man, I tried that for about a week, and I was kind of like, ugh.
You're hungry all the time, but it's good food.
I went on a sugar buster diet with my wife once.
What's that mean?
Well, you don't eat anything white, no bread.
Well, that's what this is. What happened?
I got crazy.
You're kidding.
Like, I mean, it got
dizzy, kind of?
Yeah. Like,
How many members went to Iowa State?
Probably not that many, but I think having a more conservative president that's running the university more like a business.
Yes.
And after years of just give us money, we'll do whatever we want. We took a very different
So you're now doing it. You have a strategy, investing in the strategy. You have outcomes.
Every question.
Why don't you come to the University of Florida?
That job was open.
He was. Not anymore. Take care. 2 days in a row.
Hi,
how are you doing? Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
I was Texas Bill Northey before Bill Northey was Iowa's Ag Secretary. So anyway, just this long lifetime of being involved in the agriculture community and rural life, and then both as a state representative and the Ag Commissioner, and even as the governor of Texas, worked on a lot of issues to build up the rural infrastructure, whether it was bringing broadband out to...
How about we deal with the elephant in the room right away? A week ago, you talked to Club for Growth, and you talked about that you're opposed to ethanol subsidies. And those subsidies, as you're aware, were eliminated in 2011. Talk about that.
I think biofuels have a major role in the energy market, and that they're going to continue to have a growing role. I also don't think, and you and I have talked about this a number of times before, I don't think Washington should be picking winners and losers. When it comes to energy, I think we should have an all-of-the-above approach, but it should be driven by the market.
I think it's good to be honest and direct. People might as well know and have good points on other things, so that's all. All right. Good luck.
Thank you.
I was telling them about the fact that 8 years ago, they said, how did you win? I said, pizza ranches. Right. Pizza ranch of the good Lord. I said, I'm not kidding. That's what we did. We go to every pizza ranch in Iowa. I said, we created this pizza ranch strategy. Now everybody copies it, but then it was unique to us. Is that what I get?
Yeah.
Whatever you didn't eat?
You can have it if you care to.
Hi there.
Pleasure.
Thank you for coming today. Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Have you already had lunch?
Not yet.
Not yet. You almost said that like a Southerner. Because we always say, "Jeet yet?" It's all one word. Eat yet? But it's did you eat yet? It sounds like jeet yet.
Jeet yet.
Very good.
Watch your show on TV.
Thank you.
Nice.
Unfortunately, it's not on anymore, huh? So if I was going to say, okay, what is the government going to let me earn? Forget the government. Here's the question. What would you like to earn? Look for the maximum wage. What would make life better? And if it's $50 an hour, then let's just come up with a list of all the jobs that pay $50 an hour, and then let's get you trained for those jobs. And now you get to make a maximum wage. Over the course of the next few weeks, I'll make a final decision about whether or not it's going to be a campaign.
And feel like you still have a choice. If we all light up, we can scare away the dark.
We saw trash in our streets, we picked it up, and lo and behold, when the people of Baltimore saw that their government could actually work, they rallied too.
Thought about endorsing Kerry as we saw the shift at the end, so Howard Dean was fading, Kerry was coming up. We thought about endorsing, but we decided not to. So she does a robocall that says, I hope you'll join me and my family, our 2 daughters, in endorsing. I mean, she basically said,
my sisters.
She said, hi, this is Connie Grunstall, wife of State Senator Mike Grunstall. I hope you'll join me and my family.
So I think any serious candidacy has to make its case to the people of Iowa.
Pepsi Cola? Okay. I like Diet Pepsi.
Oh, yeah.
And if it weren't for Iowa, New Hampshire, and South Carolina, you could buy the White House. Because if it was New York, California, and Florida, it'd all be about money. Money's important, but in Iowa, you can't buy Iowa, you're not going to buy New Hampshire. So that's good news for me. Because I don't have all the money these other guys do. How you doing? Thank you, Dave. Thanks for coming out. I don't need a subsidy from the government. You're asking him to subsidize my premiums. I'm going to have a congressional retirement, a military retirement, and it's not fair to these guys and their kids to be writing a check to me for $109 a month. That's $50 billion.
I know, but Senator, you earned it, though. You worked for it.
You know what?
There are people that are coming to our country that we are giving Social Security benefits and other. That's the problem.
Well, we're going to have to give up some of the benefits that were promised because we can't afford it.
Yeah, but why should we? You worked for it. You've been working every day.
Because you're going to ruin his life.
No, it's our spending, though, that's off. Our spending for those things. That's where we got to.
Social Security and Medicare will consume all the revenue you send by 2042. That is a fact. Please don't be misled. You're a nice lady. I don't want you to leave this room thinking there's a way to fix this without means testing benefits and adjusting the age of retirement. How much did this cost?
About $65 a day.
Iowa has the best deals on a rental car of any place in America. I mean, when you get a tank for 65 bucks a day.
But what kind of car do you have and how many miles are on it?
Okay, I've got a Crown Vic, which they don't make anymore, is like 200 and what?
40 something.
Yeah. Makes Grassley look like a, you know, anyway, I won't say anything. I saw Chuck coming in and he said, there's a good place to stay for 56 bucks a night. Thanks, guys.
Sadly, today's Democratic Party has decided that its partisan objectives, and in particular the rabid devotion of today's Democratic Party to mandating gay marriage, trumps any commitment to the First Amendment or religious liberty.
Thanks so much for being here. Appreciate it. Thanks so much. And I do steal your line about great to be back in America.
Well, God bless the state of Iowa. The media is right. I can't win this race. Heidi and I together, we can't win this race. But you can. The men and women in this room, and I'll tell you, Iowa plays a special role.
My one big concern, the border is still very porous, and there are kids coming through again, and it's going to happen more and more.
And it's going to get worse.
We not only can't afford it, but it's also, we're making ourselves very vulnerable. We need something to happen. We need Republicans to get together and do something about it.
You are absolutely right.
Well, how are you?
Good morning.
Good
morning, sir.
Nice to
meet you.
Have a good time. Watch. Watch. Hold it. Well, let me just do this one thing. I don't know who this is, but it's not good. They put me in a poll, because usually they don't put me in because they think I'm not running. They put me into this poll, and I beat most of the candidates, and everybody was shocked because they don't think I'm running. So part of the reason is, you know, you have that, and despite that, I do well in polls, and nobody thinks I'm running. We may very well surprise a lot of people. Well, Rick's a very good guy, by the way, but we're different people. And it'll certainly be a different guy. I mean, I have certain advantages. I have a plane like this. He didn't. That's a big advantage. Oh, yeah, why don't you, do you want to take a look at the plane? Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. Yeah. I'm ready.
What's that? You want to Here we go. Told you. Who dropped it? Oh, come on. Now you're one. I don't know who's this. Whose is it? Whose is this?
That's ours. It's his now.
His property.
Whose is it?
No.
It's right here. It's ours.
You know, it just fell on my table.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're sorry. I'm sorry, too. Here, give me. Here, let it go.
Hold on. Somebody's touching it. That's why.
Just put it on the seat. I knew that was going to happen.
Okay.
How are you?
Hi, Michaela.
Michaela. How are you? Thanks for doing this.
Yes.
Appreciate you coming out and being with us today.
Last time you were in Trainer, Iowa. Remember that?
Oh yeah, Pottawatomie County, y'all's little party.
You got Houston Chronicle called me up shortly after that and said you were indicted, and what did I think about that? And I said, don't worry, it won't give us any pause for concern at all.
Yeah.
I said, you're doing a great job up here.
Man, I tell you what, that's the sadness of where we find ourselves in this process today, that what they can't do at the ballot box, they'll try to do by besmirching one's reputation and using the courts or anything else. But I got Iowa figured out. You come to Iowa often.
You come on an empty stomach.
Yeah, that too. We learned some really hard lessons in 2011, 2012. Number one is, if you're going to run for the presidency, you need to have done preparatory work for years before. And part of that preparatory work is about coming to Iowa and coming to Iowa often.
Yep.
And that's the reason nobody came to Iowa more last year than I did. You know,
we appreciate that and respect you for that.
And that matters. I mean, I tell people, I said, listen, this is how. If you don't do it that way, you're not going to be very successful here.
Well, I'm going to extend this invitation to you. If you come out for the state fair or any other time, I'd love to introduce you or walk around with you.
Perfect. We'll do it. You know me, I'm going to be back. I'm going to be back a lot.
We'll eat something fried on a stick.
I just want to tell you a little bit about why I'm here today. We need to build the economy of tomorrow, not yesterday. We need to strengthen families and communities because that's where it all starts. We need to fix our dysfunctional political system, but we have to run the race. And I don't want people whose views about how we run that race that I don't believe are in the best interests of our country to be making the decisions. So I'm here, and I'm looking forward to traveling around the state.
We're off. Oh, great. We're off and running, and I had a great drive across the country, and one of the highlights was seeing spring, finally, once I got to Iowa, which I thought was a good sign. I saw daffodils and tulips.
I want to know why you're running right now.
I am running to be the champion for Americans and their families so that we can not just worry about treading water, but you can get ahead and you can stay ahead.
How would you limit this?
You say you're trying to retool your image.
And we cannot be a strong country if we are ambivalent about our allies and we are accommodating to our enemies. Because our allies are watching.
Okay, well, I think I want to be in Iowa as often as they invite me, so.
I think if Lance had a lapel.
Yeah, I was told we had do we have a lapel mic that can go on his jacket?
Yes. I think lapel, I don't know, much better than this.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Senator. Hey, how's it going? What are you doing, Doc? Everything's good? How are things in Texas? Who knows? How are things in Kentucky? We're not there often enough, but good. Yeah, thank you.
White House correspondents do, so that's part of the problem. Boy, I'd rather be here than there. Having done that racket a couple of times, it's ridiculous. But the point is, there are a lot of India there.
The guys are right. Well, you've spent time with him.
Yeah. Yeah, I talked to him in New Hampshire.
A lot of fun to hang around with.
You get to where you can relax around him?
Maybe 80% of the way there.
Yeah. That part I think could be a little bit hard.
It's when you're talking about maybe bad news. Yeah, I don't know. I've seen him not handle bad news well.
Oh.
So I think that's kind of where I try to soften the blow as much as possible.
Yeah.
With your, so you'll have your name and slides, so there's no movement.
Just say for those of us who bothered to come here, for those who sent a tape, I was thinking it might be nice to push the tapes back and let us, because the crowd's getting, I just met some people that said we're just worn out, so they've already left.
Right, I agree.
And it's very frustrating to have come all the way to.
Yeah, I'll let Steve know.
But yeah, because I mean, I think it's unfair to those of us at the end of the program, because people have given up.
Right. Yeah. You want to do a lapel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Next time I come to DC, I get a beer. I like the clean suit. What's up, Brad?
Hey, Governor. How you doing?
Cut it. Oh my God,
Kept
you
it
did
on
cut your
schedule.
hair.
I didn't hear you talk. It sounded like you're off the house.
Well, I don't know about that, but
I just kept hearing the floor roll. That's
well, they were just leaving. That's what it was.
The greatest trick the left has ever played is to convince conservatives that America doesn't share our values.
Actually, these days I love rereading Acts again right after Easter. It's a reminder of things came about because of obviously the crucifixion and the resurrection, but then it's a great reminder of what we're called to do next.
I like Ecclesiastes. You're up.
Yep. And thankfulness. Regardless of the day's problems, I can keep you in perfect peace as you stay close to me.
Well, let's see. Who does Ryan want us to meet?
Go start shaking some.
Hi, how are you doing?
How are you?
All right, good.
Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah, we should go through the line. Yeah, excellent.
I've never
Ooh,
been
do I see
disappointed.
pizza? Oh, as long as I got pizza, I'm fine.
Is that healthy enough? Should
Yep.
you eat better with your doctor?
Hey, it works. We all got to die of something, right? I met Governor Branstad probably 25 years ago.
Really?
The first time, yeah.
Okay. So what brought you here? Was it work related? Was it
Education
stuff?
And one of the reasons that I decided that I would do so many engagements around the country is it would give you an opportunity to be heard by hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people in person. Because I did fully recognize that someone like myself would be a huge threat to the status quo, and that the media would be all out to distort everything that you said and to present you as something that you weren't. And I said, but the more people that I get in front of themselves, they'll be able to say, that's not the guy. Okay. I could not have come up with a better scenario. It was really just that spectacular.
Concealed guns, and I love that 6-hour P238.
You know, I think we got it out there ready.
Okay, good.
Put a couple of rounds out there.
Great. Because the reason it's so compact, I mean, it really perfect profile for concealed. I knew where firearms were that I could get to because my family, we didn't have enough money to afford a nice gun safe. So I knew where they were up in a shelf in the bedroom closet. They were there, they were loaded. I could have gotten a chair or step ladder and gotten to them. I never touched those guns without my father's permission for one simple reason. I thought I knew what those firearms could do to me. I knew what my father would do to me. I was somewhat afraid of the firearm. I was scared to death of my father.
So do you think the straw poll's an irrelevant?
No, I wouldn't say it's irrelevant, but I think every campaign will have to determine how important it is to that campaign strategy. So we'll look at it over the time.
Well, certainly Harley-Davidsons are one of those great American icons, so I'm proud that they're made just down the block from where I live in Wauwatosa. Good Dodge. Ahoy, how are you? Good to see you. Good to see you too. Good to be back.
Undecided but listening.
What's that?
Undecided but listening.
Oh, well, good. Well, we'll talk a little bit up on the stage there, too. Excellent. I said we'll make our intentions known one way or the other, but probably within the month. Perfect.
All right. You got a student loan? Help this guy retire his student loan debt. Good luck. Thank you very much.
Senator, it's really nice to meet you.
My pleasure.
And I really appreciate all your work on the national security. But I work for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. And
Tell me about soybeans.
He's a professional.
Yeah, I've done this a few times.
Thank you so much for coming today. We appreciate it.
I've been to Korea.
Oh, good. So what other countries have you?
Japan, the Philippines, Kuwait, Libya, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Colombia.
So which country you want to go
England, Spain. I want to go, well, which country would you like to visit again? Yeah. Well, probably not Libya right now.
Have you been to China?
I have not.
Want to go tomorrow?
I do not. I like places where there's freedom.
And you deserve a president who will wake up every day, go to that Oval Office and defend American values, the traditional values of this country, defend Western values all around the world. And if you elect me President of the United States, that's exactly what I will do for you.
Governor Scott Walker.
Later moved up to the big time, I started flipping hamburgers at McDonald's. That funny story, I was flipping burgers in Delavan. My friend, you might have heard of him, Paul Ryan, was flipping burgers down the road in Janesville. The only difference is Paul's manager told him he had to flip hamburgers in the back because he didn't have the interpersonal skills to work the front cash register.
I think it's a good place to come for a dairy breakfast or a breakfast on the farm or any number of events out here. Should we be a candidate, we'll be in Iowa quite a bit. Whether or not the straw poll is a part of that obviously remains to be seen once we make a decision.
It just exudes confidence. I just love it. Now imagine that we the white symbol of power of the United States of America. The 747 Air Force office, there have been 3 family names to set the Oval Office. 3 terms of Bush, 2 terms of Clinton, and 2 terms of Obama. Now, thankfully, the last name isn't in the race for 2016. But my little granddaughter. I want to welcome you, Donald Trump, the next President of the United States of America.
That is, keep the oil. That's a sovereign country. Sovereign country. It's a mess. Keep the oil. You know who has the oil now? ISIS has the oil. ISIS. But you go in there, you blast the hell out of them. You kill the devil at the head. You kill the devil at the head. You take away its money. Do you agree with me? Yes! I think on every single point. You're the man. Thank you very much. We'll be back very soon.
We get a family picture.
Make America great again, right?
We will.
I caught parade of the year.
Yeah, I guess. I missed it usually, but I just happened to be right here. Even parked my car right there.
You got a good parking spot, huh?
Yeah. Are you? Oh, you are Mr.
Yeah, I'm Senator Sanders.
Oh, well. Congratulations.
Well, I signed the back of your shirt.
To do that, James.
When you run for president, you're asked to do weird things, right?
I know.
All right.
But at least I have the shirt on.
Tens of millions of Americans who have virtually no disposable income at all. So if I am working at $7.25 or $9 an hour, I don't have any money to go out and buy goods or buy services. And when I'm not buying goods and services, I'm not getting money back into the economy and creating jobs.
Okay.
Hi.
Hello. Hi.
That's not quite a good one.
Hello.
Hello, Senator Bernie Sanders. I'm Senator Bernie Sanders. Senator Bernie Sanders. Senator Bernie Sanders.
Hello.
Senator Bernie Sanders.
Glad to meet you.
Senator Bernie Sanders.
Good, how are you?
Good. How are you? Hi, Senator Bernie Sanders. All right. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Like a sticker?
Who are you? Senator Bernie Sanders from Vermont. I'm running for president.
Hi.
President of what? Okay. Okay, thanks very much. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Welcome to Independence, Iowa.
Lovely.
Now I need a camera, honey. Do you think this outfit makes me look husky?
I think you do look kind of husky. Here's where I'm going to stay. Everybody singing Iowa.
Iowa.
Iowa. Burlington, Iowa.
Want to start singing this?
Oh, no. No, nobody knows me.
That's the point I'm making.
Yeah. It's okay. You got a boom mic right there.
Okay. Give me an O!
Oh!
Give me an apostrophe!
Apostrophe! Hi, happy 4th. Hey, happy 4th of July, everybody. Thank you. Happy 4th of July. It's like Halloween and 4th of July all together.
Happy 4th of July, everybody. Good to see you guys. We got it right where we want them. What lucky people. All right, well, thanks for letting me exploit your children.
Well, they're hers.
Oh, they're adorable. Here.
Thank you.
Want to get this
I
one?
do. And his.
How you doing? Hello. Hello. Happy 4th of July. Good July. Hello. Hello, everybody. Happy 4th. We should do a USA chant. Yeah.
USA! USA! USA!
Businessman and entrepreneur Donald Trump.
But referring to people as rapists, referring to John McCain, a war hero, 5.5 years as a POW, and you call him a dummy. Is that appropriate in running for president?
Okay, you got to let me speak, though, Frank, because you interrupt all the time, okay? So he's not a war hero.
He's a war hero.
He's a war hero.
5.5 years.
He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay? I hate to tell you.
Do you agree with that?
He's a war hero because he was captured, okay? See, I get a standing ovation. Other people don't.
This way.
Nation's top pro-life and pro-family leaders.
You couldn't possibly have thought back in January, it's only been 6 months, that you would go from 2 or 3% in the polls to be the front runner in Iowa. What happened?
We gave a speech where we just talked like I've talked in 3 of the last 4 years. I've had elections and just told the story of what we did like I would back home in Wisconsin. And suddenly people said, yeah, maybe this guy can break through and maybe he can be a legitimate candidate. And I think people are looking for someone who can fight and win. And that's what we did. Thanks, Bob.
Thank you. Great clothes, too. Great clothes. Thank you. Yeah. Good to see you. Good to see you.
You are set up to comment on the Republicans' policy.
Now, individuals of pitching moment.
That was a personal
That God considers for the deep on the journey for such a time as this.
I'm assuming that's the other.
Yeah, there's a lot of clouds facing our nation. Yeah, we're fragile.
2 of them talked about it building this house because they wanted to focus on what they were doing.
Yeah, that's right.
We should never, ever, ever question the patriotism and the heroism of someone like John McCain. And I'll speak out for him and any other prisoner of war anytime, anywhere, any place, regardless of politics.
Driving back in here, I heard something that was as disturbing to me as I've heard in this entire process of running for the presidency of the United States. And there was an individual who stood or sat upon this stage earlier today who doesn't understand or doesn't care about people who serve this country. Donald Trump owes every American veteran, and in particular John McCain, an apology.
I can't believe he did it. I can't believe he said that. I have more respect for someone who doesn't get caught. And my God, what they did to McCain.
People look back on that and it will be a pivotal moment in his short-lived presidential campaign. My father, by the grace of God, in 1944, wasn't a prisoner of war. On either side of him, B-17s went down, who became prisoners of war. Donald Trump spit in every one of their oaths, and that is so inappropriate. It really questions his mental state.
Local prosecutors, attorneys general, and DAs should investigate the Planned Parenthood affiliates in their jurisdictions, and Congress should hold hearings, and we should cut off every penny of taxpayer funds.
You stood up when they gave you a standing ovation. You stood up to applaud them. I teach people to do stuff. I've never taught them to do that. What caused you? Is that the first time you've done it, or you've done it before?
Okay, the best political advice I've ever gotten in my life was from Heidi. And Heidi said right before a speech I was giving years ago, she said, remember, it's not about you. It's about them. Nobody cares about you. They care about their lives, their family, their kids. So when they were applauding, look, they're not applauding me. They were applauding the principle of religious liberty, and I was standing to applaud the same thing.
This way. Thank you.
Is it of great interest to me? I've never had so many TV cameras watch me eat popcorn. You want some? You can have TV cameras watching.
How's that thing on top of your camera?
Okay, you got a mic on? Oh, gee, I'm leaving somebody's mic here. All right. I didn't mean to steal your mic.
You're not stealing anything.
I'm sorry.
I watch it in Miami. Iowa Public Television. It's my favorite. It's so good. 24/7. Make sure that makes it on the ad.
Funding for this program was provided by Friends, the Iowa Public Television Foundation.
AARP Iowa, reminding voters of the importance of understanding each presidential candidate's position on Social Security. More information is available at 2016takeastand.org.